Let's turn this into the ultimate gaming server. Not only a gaming server, as in a server host for game servers, but a game server for streaming the games that connect to the server. Basically, being able to play the games on this machine and stream them to any of my devices. And there's a couple core fundamental technologies that we're going to use to achieve this. One is Proxmox. There is going to be a VM for the actual game streaming and a container for the game server. The game server, what is it hosted with you or with? What is it running with? What am I using? I'm using our sponsor, AMP by Cube Coders. I've used a bunch of game panels, and so far this one has been the easiest to set up. The most kind of games just out of the box that you could instantly launch servers for. It's really nice, and we'll kind of walk through the setup process and all that. And then we're going to be using two applications, Sunshine and Moonlight. We're going to spin up a virtual machine of Nobara Linux, which is a fantastic Linux distribution for gaming based on Fedora. We are going to do some little setup stuff with that, enable GPU pass-through, so this Radeon 580 is used directly by that virtual machine. And then on that virtual machine, we are going to enable startup processes for Sunshine, which will act to stream or act as the host for streaming games, and for Steam Big Picture. So when we log into our desktop, it kind of looks like a Steam machine, no matter what machine that we're using to connect. And what I am going to do is install AMP in an LXC. To save some time, I already set it up, but just a quick summary of what's going on here. I gave it 4 cores of the CPU. We have 8 gigabytes of memory with 2 of swap, just under 100 gigs of storage. My main use case is going to be Minecraft, but I might go ahead and test out another game or two. And because it's Minecraft, that's why I also gave it 8 gigs, because it's very RAM dependent. Now, I also did some other things here real quick. If we jump into the console, you will be able to see that I reconfigured my locales. That's one thing I ended up needing to do. And I just needed to select, for me, I'm not going to scroll all the way down, but it was ENUS UTF-8. That's the one that the script prefers for installing AMP. Additionally, I, of course, installed curl, and I updated and upgraded my system. Now, just for a quick overview, if we go over to the Cube Coders website, check out AMP, we can see a lot of information here. We can get the whole overview of everything that's going on. They have all the features right here. So it's a simple installation, whether if you're doing this with a single line command on Linux or with the installer on Windows. Has a built-in scheduler. You could create instances for a wide variety of games very, very quickly. Customizable, of course, themes, plugins, so on. You have File Manager and SFTP right out of the gate. Graphical settings editors, and this looks different depending on what game and instance. So for Minecraft, for example, you'll see when we get in, you can edit your server properties file, so on and so forth. And it is important to note that this is not open source software. This is paid software. But when you buy it, it's a lifetime license, and you can see the cheapest one here is $10. At least to me, the time savings of setting this up versus any other panel is worth more than $10 to me. And to actually install it, we're going to scroll up here, click on download, and you go pick your Linux distribution here, or of course go with Windows. But with any of these Linux distros you select, it's basically the same little script right here. So we're just going to copy this script, head back over to our LXC container real quick. And of course, you can install this directly on Linux. You can install it in a virtual machine. I'm just going LXC for this. Drop in that command, hit enter, and it's going to begin the setup process. So here we can see a lot of information about our system, our IP addresses and whatnot. So I'm going to create myself an admin account, Brandon, and then give it a password here. And now it's going to ask us if we want to install Docker. Now, since I am doing this on an LXC, I am going to say no. But again, if I was on a VM or on like hardware, I would definitely go with the Docker installation. It isolates all the different instances and whatnot. So it's something that is worth doing. But for this, I'm going to go no. Will we be running Minecraft servers? Yes, it's going to install Java. And will we run any applications that relies on Steam CMD, Rust, Arc, CSGO? I'm just going to say yes, so I have all those prerequisites. And I'm not going to enable HTTPS because I'm going to eventually do this later on with my own proxy and self-signed certificates. So let's go no. And if we're ready, we can hit enter. And now it's going to go ahead, update the system, install the prerequisites, and get everything set up for us. And will you look at that? We got a new message here saying that we're waiting for the user to complete our first time setup in the browser. So I'm just going to grab this right here. This is my local address ending in 8080. So do note that that's a very common port that a lot of applications use. So if you have something else running on the exact same system with that port, note that. So there we go. Now let's type in the username and password that we established during the setup script. There we go. Let's continue with this setup. We have our license key, so you'll get emailed a key if you do decide to purchase this. So I dropped it in, hit next, hit verified, and we're good to go. So now, if you are doing this with multiple machines, kind of clustering it, that is something that's supported, which is very cool. You can see installations across multiple and separate hosts. You can do that with controllers, targets, or in hybrid mode. Now me, I am not that advanced of a user. I'm just installing it on this single LXC, so I'm gonna go with the standalone default install. Here's some privacy settings. I'm just gonna keep everything enabled, help them improve the product, and we could go next. Now it's applying all those configuration changes, and it gives us the option to restart. Oh, there it goes. Hey, if I made this a little bit bigger, we'd have a QR code in our terminal. Super cool. And here we are. Let's log on in. So we are going to get step one of our Ultimate's little gaming server, and that's actual game servers. Here, this is going to be a page of all of our instances. We also have our data stores, some kind of main overview stuff, our file manager, configurations, which you can see here. But we're going to just go ahead and create our instance. Look at all these games. My golly. Ooh, that's cool. Minecraft, or we could spin up an old school Call of Duty World at War server. That would be fun. All right, I got to focus up here. Focus up. Minecraft Java. After creation, update and start. We have start on boot, supported platforms, and let's just click create instance. See how long that takes? You can see it right here, configuring Minecraft. It looks like it's waiting for user input. So let's just head over here. Yeah, it wants me to accept the EULA. So we'll go ahead and accept that. And now it's starting the server. If I look on over here, we could jump into the console and see everything that's going on. So it prepared the spawn area, and it seems like we're good to go. So let's just kind of test it real quick. So this is going to be .90 and join the server. Ooh, there we go. Yay, I'm in. Head back over to AMP, and you can see I joined the game right there. And it looks like it's performing fairly well. Let's go to the status here. And yeah, with one player, I haven't changed any of the settings, but we're using just under a gig of RAM. We have the actions here, and I want to go to the configuration. Okay, here we have user management. Oh, this is for the whole thing. We want to go to Minecraft right here. So on Minecraft, we have our memory limit, so maybe up it to 2 gigs. I could always increase it as more people come in. We have our Java version right there, additional Java options, server and startup, so our message of the day, our release, our server jar, so you can replace it if you don't want to use like the vanilla Minecraft. Um, I'm going to date myself here, but I used to use a bucket. I wish that was still a thing. So here's all of our files. Do they have an editor right in here? So if I click, let's say banned players, or let's do whitelist. If I double click on it, oh yeah, you edit the files right on in here. Save, reload. Super cool. We have plugins here. Please don't show me this again. So this is going to search Spigot for plugins. And yeah, look at that. I don't know enough about the state of Minecraft plugins to go installing any, but yeah, pretty cool. All right, let's just do one more instance just for example's sake. So if I did create instance, what's a game I can actually maybe jump into? Probably Counter-Strike 2. That'd probably be my easiest bet. CS2. Create instance. And just like that, it is going to create an instance of Counter-Strike 2. Hey, it's installing. Let's go. So now let's go ahead and get to the meat and potatoes, and that is creating our streaming machine, specifically our streaming VM, because here we are in Proxmox. We're going to do it on the same exact system. Now, before I get into this, there are some prerequisites of things that I've already done, including going into the BIOS and enabling IOMMU, enabling it in Proxmox by adding the entry into your grub configuration, and then blacklisting the driver. For me, it's AMD, might be NVIDIA for you. Blacklisting the driver essentially makes it so the host system doesn't try to use it while your virtual machine is using it, because you're going to be passing it through directly to that virtual machine. For all the commands and everything that I used prior to this, I'll go ahead and leave some information down below. Additionally, you might have seen there, I've uploaded the Nobara ISO. That is the distro I'm going to be using. Right here is the download page for it. They have a couple different versions. I am going with the clean GNOME version. The reason I'm using Nobara is it's one of my favorite Linux distributions, and the guy behind it is Glorious Eggroll, responsible for a lot of the awesome packages and software that Linux gamers use every day. And this distro is optimized for gaming. So with that, let's go ahead and create our virtual machine here. Let's go to create VM. This I like to do as 200. This I'm just going to call gaming. And then we're going to go next, ISO image, Nobara, next. Next, give it a good amount of space. I'm going to go with 256. I have a smaller NVMe SSD in here, so I would go more, but I don't have that much space. I do have a ZFS pool in here, so I'm going to go ahead and add that storage now. Watch one of my Proxmox guides if you're interested in learning how to set up ZFS. So let's go 1, 2, 4. So there we go. Extra little drive there. Let's go next. Cores, let's give it 8. For the specifications here, you're going to want to set it up for what you plan on doing on it, as well as what you actually physically have. And then 8192. Go 8 gigs of RAM in here. Let's go next. And that looks good. So let's start after created and click finish. And once it does create, it should boot us into the installer for Nobara. Hey, look at that. We're booting in. Let's, can we full screen this bad boy? There we go. See it a little bit better. Launch the installer. Here we are. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all of this, but for this machine, it is important to note that you're going to want to log in automatically without asking for a password. So that way, all the software that we're going to use is going to automatically start up if our server or virtual machine needs to reboot for whatever reason. If you forget or you've already created your virtual machine, you can easily enable this in your settings. So let's go next. We are going to put this onto the 256 gig NVMe, erase that disk, hit next, and proceed with the installation. So that's going to take a minute, and we'll look at that. We are done. So let's go ahead and actually, let's not restart. Uncheck that, hit done, and shut the machine down. So boop, and power off. Because we need to get rid of the ISO image. So if we go boom, go to CDD DVD, remove that, yes. And now let's start her up and head back over to the console here. Boot into Nobara, and there we go. We'll look at that. Let's full screen this thing again, just like that. So here's our first steps walkthrough. But before, actually, let's update our system first. So it's checking those repos for us real quick. And just like that, all of our updates are complete. So one thing I want to do is install guest agents. This will help our VM perform a little bit better and be able to communicate with Proxmox a little bit better for things like reboots and whatnot. So sudo dnf install, I believe it's QEMU guest agent. Just like that, hopefully. Type in our password. Hey, super nice. It's already installed. I like it. So in here, if we go over to options, and you have the guest agent right here. If we edit this, enable it, hit OK. Next time it reboots, that will be enabled. So we're good to go. So let's full screen this again. Let's make sure we have our media codecs here. Accept that. And there we go. So our media codecs are now enabled. So I don't think we really need to do anything else here. I'm going to uncheck show on startup. And let's actually power this down real quick because we're going to add our other GPU and make sure that that's all working fine. So let's power off, power off. Our no VNC should close. And we could go under options here. Actually, no, hardware. I lied. We're going to go add the PCI device here. Go to raw device. And here you should be able to find your GPU. Mine is right here, device ID 500.0. We're going to check all functions, and we're not going to check primary GPU yet. We're going to do that a little bit later once we have all the software set up and ready to go. So now let's go ahead and dive on in, hit start, go to the console. So now let's go make sure, well, let's change our background. I can't do this blue. Boop, something like that. There we go. That's a little better. If I bring up driver manager here, let's see if it detects the AMD, which it looks like it does. So we should be good to go in that regard. Now we're going to set up the system a little bit. And the first things first is let's go ahead and grab Steam. By grab Steam, I mean open it. It's already pre-installed in this machine. But if you chose a different distribution, go ahead and install Steam. And then let's go ahead and log in here. Boop, sign into Steam. Let's go ahead and full screen this. All right, now within the Steam settings, so Steam settings, We're going to go down to compatibility, and it looks like we already have Proton Experimental already enabled. That's perfect. And I'm going to grab a couple or just a game real quick. Let's grab Counter-Strike 2, and let's go ahead and grab Skyrim. Let's try to stream this. So let's install it just like that. Accept. And now while that installs in the background, let's go ahead and get our actual streaming client set up, which is going to be Sunshine. Now, this should already be in the repository, so let's give it a check. So let's go to the software center, Nobara packages. It's going to go ahead and refresh these repositories. And now let's go ahead and search for Sunshine, which we can see right here, self-hosted game stream host. Let's go ahead and check that and apply. So you can see all the packages it's going to install. Let's go ahead and hit confirm and then type in our password. So now if we search for Sunshine, give that a click, it should now be running in the background. So if I go over to our web browser and go to localhost at 47990, give this a refresh, you can see we now have a privacy error. And then if I proceed, unsafe, there we go. And here it says, welcome to Sunshine. So username, Sunshine. I'm going to change this to Brandon and then give ourselves a password and then log on in. There we go. It refreshed. Type in our information here. And there we go. You can see we're running the latest version of Sunshine. We have our resources, legal, and our PIN. We have all of our applications right here. We have our configuration. But what we want to do is test and make sure that this is actually working. So what I'm going to do is on here on my local computer, I'm going to head over here and then let's grab this for Mac OS. Moonlight, so let's download and then grab the Mac OS Universal package just so we can make sure that the connection is good and we can set up our PIN and all that. So we have the installer here, just whoop up. And now if I close this out, open up Moonlight, open it. Here we go. Let's allow it to search our local network, which it's not finding it. So I'm going to click add here. Go find our IP address. IPA, we are at 141.10.173.10.141. Okay. There it is, Nobara. Enter 6874 on the host PC. So if I head over here and then I enter 6874, and this is going to be my Mac OS desktop. Send. Success. So now if I go over here, double click, let's just go to our desktop and look at that. This is our desktop. Now I have no VNC running, so we're getting a little bit of a graphical glitch action here. And within here, we're going to create a few things for startup applications. So if I go to startup applications right here, we have a few things going on. A few things we could actually disable, such as that first run. All that looks good. Let's go ahead and add. And we want to launch Sunshine on boot. So let's go Sunshine for the command. It's going to be Sunshine. Add that. So let's go ahead and click add here. And this is going to be big picture. And the command is going to be steam dash gamepad UI. So now if I click on add, close this, and let's shut down our system. Or actually, let's just reboot our system. So let's restart it and make sure that it will automatically go into big picture mode when we log in. All right, so we lost connection there, should be restarting. So let's try to connect again real quick. Hey, will you look at that? Welcome to big picture. Nice. All right. Here, let's see how well this works. We are in. I hear the audio perfectly fine on my headphones there. Nice. All right. This looks, it's pretty clear now. Looks better in here than desktop mode. Oh yeah, look at that. I could probably lower the settings a bit. This is a 580. Let's go best performance, medium. There we go. I think it set it on ultra. Oh yeah, now that's way smoother. On God. Let's go ahead and give Counter-Strike a try. Let's put this on medium settings as well. Can you run in this game? Oh. Oh, that wasn't even the match. I felt like I was doing something. Damn. Okay. Let's get out of here. Let's do something I know I won't die at so much. Enable dev console. Yes. And now I should be able to just press this key, which will open up the console. my CSGO server that I spun up earlier, which would be at 10 dot, and this is on 27015. So now this is my own server. I'm probably going to do a little bit better now that we're in a private server with all bots. Let's move out. Ah! No. I can't even win against bots. Ah! Ah! Woo! Da-da-da-da-pa. Ah! That was my CSGO server, and you probably saw a lot of action going on there. The game executed. If I go into configuration, we have Counter-Strike 2 settings here, so you can add passwords, all kinds of stuff. Workshop map IDs, whatever it may be. I'm not that familiar with this game. I just wanted to see how easy it was just to spin up a server real quick. So that was my guide on setting up both a game server and a game streaming server with Proxmox, AMP, Sunshine, and Moonlight. So again, with that, have a great day and goodbye.